So in this video I'm going to be breaking down why exactly Unai Emery's side was so good defensively against Bayern Munich and what they did specifically that was crucial to their defensive setup, but I'll also talk about what I think Nagelsmann got right, but also what went wrong for Bayern and enabled Villarreal to pull off the perfect smash and grab. But before I go any further, for cheap good quality football jerseys, retro jerseys and tracksuits, go over to www.jerseyfever.com. I myself have bought a number of different jerseys from Jersey Fever, including this 2003-2004 Manchester United shirt with Ronaldo on the back, and this one's probably my favourite. So if you want a shirt like this, be sure to click the link in the description below and use code ATLANTISFOOTBALL with a space to get 5% off. So throughout the whole game, there wasn't any real surprises in how Villarreal set up and what their strategy was. From the first minute, they were content to allow Bayern Munich to move out of their defensive third with the ball, sitting off passively and instead preferring to have Moreno and Danjuma sitting close to their midfield line, allowing the Bayern Munich back three to have time on the ball as they instead looked to cut the passing lanes into Kimmich and Goretzka. Emery's side sat off in a compact 4-4-2 shape with every man behind the ball having a defensive task. The wide midfield would sit narrow, but when the ball got shifted out to the flank, they would shift wide to create 2v1 situations with the fullback against Coman and Sane, making sure that the Bayern wingers weren't able to isolate the Villarreal fullbacks in 1v1 situations. Therefore, the game followed a predictable pattern which you would expect, which was Bayern Munich dominating possession, having around 60 to 70% throughout most parts of the game, and it was quite easy for Bayern to progress the ball into Villarreal's half, but it was working the ball into the final third in central positions that was the real issue for Bayern. Now, I thought Nagelsmann went with the right possession setup, being very offensive by using Sane and Coman as wing backs who are basically just wingers in possession, pushing high up the pitch, creating a front five of Musiala and Müller in behind Lewandowski. Kimmich and Goretzka sat as a double pivot, and Nagelsmann used a back three of Lucas and Pavard either side of Upamecano, and this was the correct approach in my opinion. See, Villarreal dropped very deep in their final third, having an extremely vertically compact defensive shape, meaning that there was practically no space between the lines of their system, and so Bayern would have to look to progress the ball down the flanks. In this situation, Bayern would need to look to switch the play as quickly as possible, as say when the ball is on the right side with Pavard, in order to maintain a horizontally compact shape, we would see Villarreal's midfield line sitting very narrow with the wide midfielder on the opposite flank shifting over and sitting very tight to the central midfielder on their inside. This meant that if Bayern could circulate the ball quickly from one side to the other, there would be space down the opposite flank for them to drive into and look to catch Villarreal out of position. By having the back three, you have a wider base to then circulate the ball, whilst always having the wide centre back on the opposite side free to receive those switches of play and then drive forward. Maybe Bayern Munich could have been a bit more deliberate in switching the play with long passes and then using Pavard or Lucas to drive forward, but Nagelsmann certainly set out the side in the right way. The main problem was just that Villarreal defended masterfully. When Bayern would have the ball down the flank in the final third, Villarreal were almost in a back 6, 7 or 8 at times, with the back line doing well to not drop into the box and invite crosses, holding a position near to the edge of the box, whilst the midfield line would drop back with the play, essentially giving Villarreal one long back line, condensing the space and making it incredibly hard for Bayern to work any 1-2s or interplay in these positions. Now, Bayern, whilst dominating the game, weren't able to translate this into quality chances, as seen as they recorded an XG of 1.51 to Villarreal 0.76, showing that Emery's side did a fairly good job of restricting Bayern, being content to defend with 11 players behind the ball, even in their own defensive third. And this continued for pretty much the whole game because Villarreal weren't able to sustain possession themselves after the early part of the game, and this was because of Bayern's pressing. However, that wasn't the case early on in the game, and Villarreal were able to play through Bayern's press a few times. Here we see Nagelsmann's side looking to press aggressively high up the pitch in a 3-2-3-2 shape, with Müller and Lewandowski leading the press, and Musiala sitting behind creating a V-shaped press, with Coman and Sane also sitting high up the pitch as well, ready to pressurise the fullbacks when they received the ball. But at the start of the game, Bayern's back three and the midfield double pivot, in particular that pivot of Kimmich and Goretzka, was sitting far too deep, which meant that they weren't backing up the press, meaning there was massive amounts of space in behind Bayern's front five's press. Here we see as 1-4 has the ball, he has a clear passing lane open to Parejo. Goretzka is far too deep, meaning that when the pass goes into Parejo, he's able to turn out, and Villarreal have bypassed Bayern's frontline press with one pass. However, this was fixed later on in the first half, and Bayern's press became a lot more effective as their shape became more vertically compact. Here we see how close Bayern's pressing lines are, with the double pivot, which at this point was Müller and Goretzka, high up close to the second pressing line, as Kimmich is pressing alongside Lewandowski in the front line, and when Villarreal attempt to play out, Bayern are able to win the ball back in their half and sustain the attacking pressure. This is why Villarreal ended up going long from their back line most of the time, as Bayern's pressing meant that they couldn't play out, but this more direct approach just handed the ball back to Bayern, and this was the main reason why Bayern dominated possession. However, Emery's game plan was clearly to catch Bayern on the counter, and they had a couple of good opportunities to do so in the first half, like when Capoue charged through both Kimmich and Goretzka, threaded a through ball to Danjuma, exploiting Bayern's high line, but his shot went wide at the near post. But this was a great example of how Villarreal could cause Bayern problems. Bayern did eventually get the equaliser midway through the second half when Koeman intercepted a pass forward from Parejo, allowing Bayern to win the ball back whilst Villarreal's midfield was out of shape. And Nagelsmann's side did exactly what you would want when counter-pressing, which is to move the ball forward directly when you win the ball from that position, exploit the space quickly before Villarreal can then get back into position. The ball goes into Müller, who plays a pass into Lewandowski, who finishes excellently off the post past the wandering Geronimo Rulli. But credit to Villarreal, they didn't capitulate. Throughout the whole game and even after the goal, they defended diligently, with the central midfielders doing an excellent job of tracking runners, dropping into the space between the centre-backs and full-backs when Bayern shifted the ball out wide. It was this positional awareness and defensive discipline that was the main reason for Villarreal getting through this tie, and it stems from Emery's work on the training ground, and this put Villarreal in the perfect position for the smash and grab. So a Bayern attack breaks down in Villarreal's defensive third, the ball goes into Parejo's feet, and what he does on the ball is crucial to this goal. Rather than looking to play a pass as quickly as possible, he has the composure and technique to wait for the right opportunity, holding off pressure before sliding the pass into Lo Celso, who has run into the space in behind Bayern Munich's midfield line. Bayern's backline has dropped off, but their midfield line has pushed up to counter-press, which left a massive space for Lo Celso to break into. Gerard Moreno's run in behind Upamecano is perfect, and Lo Celso slides the ball through to him, but Moreno's vision and technique to find Chukwueze on the far side is fantastic. Alphonso Davies, who came on for Lucas, initially is caught too deep, playing Moreno onside. He can't then intercept the pass across the box to Chukwueze, who takes a chance first time, side footing the ball into the roof of the net past Manuel Neuer to put Villarreal through to the semi-finals and dump Bayern Munich out of the Champions League at the quarter-final stage. So this tie, both the first and second leg, perfectly showcase why Unai Emery is so successful in European competitions. His 4-4-2 defensive shape contains players who know exactly what they should do out of possession from a positional point of view, and over 180 minutes they had relatively few individual errors, which is crucial for a deep defensive unit, and this is why Bayern Munich were able to dominate possession but weren't able to create high quality chances, and they paid for it by the end of the tie. So thank you for watching. If you enjoyed that video, check out some of my others which will be linked in the description. Give the video a like and subscribe to the channel, and put your thoughts in the comment section below.